And what occurred is, I thought, well, maybe it's just me, you know. So I contacted another friend of mine who's done this work for about the same amount of time, and I said, you know, we get together and we share clinical pearls. And I said, well, Bob, I've been checking out this product, and it's not real expensive, and I've been seeing some things with it. I want to send you half a dozen bottles, and you test it and give it to some of your chronic cases and tell me what you see in a couple of weeks. Well, a couple of weeks went by, and he came by, and I gave him Randy's number, and well, he bought so much Teratol, I went out of stock on it. So, you know, I said to Randy, okay, well, I'm going to put in a standing order here, and then when my friends order from you, make sure you hold back some for me, because you know, his wife said the same thing my wife said. Oh, you guys get hot on something, and then you use it for 3 or 4 months or 6 months, and then it's on to the next thing. Well, that hasn't happened with Teratol, because the whole concept of how it works and why it works and why it should be in the daily food supply for people is that the humic acid, fulvic acid manages our minerals that are all inside of our body. And our body knows what to do with this. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that this is from a pristine source of unpolluted vegetative matter that's been buried in the earth since antiquity. Whatever, you know, thousands of years you want to put on it, it has been isolated from those things that are the anathema of modern living: herbicides, pesticides, electromagnetic radiation stress, other types of environmental pollutions, and so forth. And it is something I think that actually is a tremendous benefit to the entire food chain and to the entire biosphere when properly applied and utilized. Right now in Pennsylvania, we're having a big gas play on the Marcellus Shale. And I've talked to Mr. Mosley about bringing Teratol up here for remediating any spills that we might have of frac fluids and you know, oil and gas. Well, mostly it's all gas. It's desiccated shale. You know, problems in this area, so that we can safely and effectively have the benefit of the natural resource while still maintaining our husbandry of the land and the environment. And so I think there's just tremendous benefits to the product. I have utilized it now for about 4 months in one of my patients' feeder pig operations. We have taken, just using Teratol through the water feeding system in both of his feeding operations. We have taken his death toll down from 4% to less than 0.5%. The hogs are growing faster. They get less broken legs, less injuries. They quit chewing tails. And so his animal husbandry is going down. He doesn't have the need to use antibiotics and other medicated feeds. And so really what's happening is we're helping that ecology also. The other interesting thing is once the manure is passed through his hogs, the pits and the effect on there has been tremendous, lowering the ammonia. The manure slurry is homogeneous and easily spread and absorbed on his land. And so really from beginning to end, we're utilizing this to help remediate and improve agricultural facilities also. So that's my take on Teratol, and frankly, I never thought that this little bottle here when I saw it at that conference, will become one of the foundations of many of my clinical nutritional protocols and practices. I'm glad I met Mr. Mosley, and I'm glad I learned about Teratol, and I intend to use it as long as I practice, and I definitely intend to use it for myself as long as I live. So I will gladly take any questions that you might have, and see if I can answer them for you.
Yeah. I have a question. Is there any way to measure minerals in people or animals that's kind of down and dirty? A quick answer without going to major labs and major expense.
Did you hear that?
Chris, when you move it, I kind of lose you. So, no, I didn't hear it. He said, can I explain something or other?
Now,
Just repeat it to me.
is there a way to measure minerals in people and animals that's kind of down and dirty, inexpensive, to find out what might be wrong with them?
Is there a way to measure minerals in animals and people in a down and easy way to
Yeah.
figure out what's inside them?
Is there a way to measure them?
Easily and cheaply.
Is there a way to measure them easily and cheaply to understand what kind of minerals uptake you're taking?
Minerals are responsible for most disease, and I want to be able to check that. Lack of minerals is.
And then, so how to decide whether you have a lack of minerals or a good amount of minerals in your body?
Well, this is the interesting thing. In humans, of course, we can do what's called an SMA, a chem analysis, which will give you your magnesium, potassium, sodium, phosphorus, etc. The reality of it is, we have all the elements, all the minerals inside of us that we generally need, especially in this particular society. And our bones are what stores the different minerals. One of the things we didn't address is the detoxification capability of Teratol, and the fact that it does bind chemicals and heavy metals. And by removing these heavier metals such as lead, nickel, tin, mercury, even excesses of copper.
Oh, yeah.
I'll go back to excesses of copper.
Yeah.
Yeah, about the excesses of copper.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, boy.
You're doing great there.
Let's read that.
And
It's doing automatically.
Sorry about that, folks.
Let's call him. Let's get him back.
Let's see if we have to log back on. Actually, I'm very happy that we got through his whole speech.
Click on that Skype button and see where we're going to take you. Let's try to answer it. It should be.
Sometimes when you're kicked, you have to re-authenticate.
Okay.
That's why this, you have to do. Okay, now we're back.
Stand back.
Sorry about that.
Tell him where we left off, Chris.
You got cut off at excess copper, was it?
Excess copper.
Excess copper.
You know, I think, yeah. Yeah. Still there?
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah, I would let's leave it where you were in the beginning, and we'll just kind of talk to that crowd, and you can just give me the questions. Good connection there.
Okay. But your last answer got cut off.
Right, I know.
Okay. I think we're actually seeing his screen
Right.
instead of his video. Instead of the video of your
Yes.
face, we're seeing the video of his
yeah.
screen. I thought that was mine for a second.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
He can talk, we hear him.
but we can hear you just fine. Did you want to repeat some of the last answer you were giving where you stopped off at excess minerals?
Well, I did that before, then went back on.
Let's wait,
Yeah.
Is that-
A little computer for internet.
There it is.
We've gone offline. It comes in waves. It's like a tide.
We're probably getting more students logging onto the system right now.
Yeah, something.
Isn't the bridge on Skype?
Oh goodness, now it's really. Ah, yeah, see now I'm able. Does anyone want to have a question ready, and then he can get on, and maybe we can get like one or two questions out, because it was about his time.
I have a question. Could the Teratol cross the blood-brain barrier and pull excess calcium out of the brain that would cause a plaque?
Boy,
You have a cell phone that you can connect the speaker to?
The signal's very strong in the back. We actually debated whether actually moving it to the back or rolling the dice and having it up front. And it's good that we rolled the dice because we got his whole speech out up on the screen. So, but we couldn't figure out a way to have it in the back and get the projection and the speakers. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Well, we can go in back and listen to him.
What was your question, Barbara, on the calcium?
Could the fulvic in that human could it get across the blood-brain barrier and go up into the brain and pull out the excess calcium that causes the hardening and the like Alzheimer's? Pull that excess calcium out, and could it do that?
It's going to transform the calcium into a cellular usable item. Let me go that route. That's one we probably need to shoot to Jeff, because he is doing some work with MS and Alzheimer's, and that's a good question. We'll see if we can get him back on here.
Okay.
Someone was telling me yesterday, if they took something twice a day in the 4 months, the Alzheimer's would go away.
I remember it only gets sketchy when you touch it and move it around, as long as you don't touch it. I wanted him to, see where the question was coming from, but I'm not going to touch it again.
I think you're on mute.
I'm trying to remember who that was.
What was the last night?
Was who?
What was the last night with Jeff?
That's what I'm saying. We're trying to remember.
Sorry about that.
There we go.
I realized when I move the computer around, the signal usually goes, so I'm not going to touch the computer again.
Good.
We had one question. A woman asked, does the Teratol go through the blood-brain barrier to...
And pull the calcium out of the cells that might cause plaque buildup.
to pull calcium out of the cells that might cause plaque buildup, this kind of thing.
In the brain.
At this time, I cannot say for certain. I think what it does is facilitates that capability of